What is up, you guys? We are here for our weekly anchor message where we are receiving our spiritual lessons and assignments for the week. And as we all know, on Wednesday is our solar eclipse in Leo new moon. So, bearing that in mind, we are really intentionally releasing resentments or stories, identities tied to the past, old branding gone, the old Netflix series of the self canceled. We are revamping, right? New series, new season. So we want to let go, we want to release before the eclipse season starts, which we're kind of in the foyer of entering the realm now. And basically the reason why is because the theme that you are giving the universe to work with is like one of two things. Either it's something that you need to release and heal and dismantle and break free from, or it's something that you have recently planted or are currently cultivating or planting that the universe can accelerate. And so these things, wherever you find yourself, are going to be either, they're going to be playing out for the next 6 months. So from a Kabbalistic lens, we are also preparing our eyes of perception for the month of Elul, and which also starts on Wednesday. So we're breaking the habit of looking at the world through eyes of judgment, which will yield judgment, but instead looking at the world through the eyes of the Creator with more depth and understanding and compassion and mercy. And so that will yield more mercy, right? We're either vibrating with a thing or we aren't. So I'm going to show you the cards. We will go in more depth and also listen to the audio. So we have Aletheia, followed by the Vessel, followed by the Dead End. Notice here this black and white binary theme, right? This or that, very black or white thinking, very judgment, good, bad, this, that. It's like instead be open. I don't know if this is good or bad. The Creator can make it any way the Creator sees fit, right? Any way that my vibrational matrix will allow for it to play out, right? So we have Aletheia, the Vessel, and Dead End. Underneath Aletheia, we have Judgment. Underneath the Vessel, we have King of Cups. And underneath Dead End, we have King of Wands. All right, so Aletheia is lived wisdom. It is knowing that it's knowing that comes from a firsthand experience with something. Jesus said, you will live the truth and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. But he was always also talking about the higher truth, the highest truth, the divine truth. Seeing through your lower fleshly egoic inclination, those eyes of experience can yield trepidation and fear and maybe self-defense mechanisms that look like imposter syndrome and things, right? So really, we want to trust that higher wisdom, that higher truth, but we also want to be open to divine inspiration that's coming through, right? Judgment here. Judgment Day is coming up. That's what the month of Elul is for. It's the month of Teshuvah that prepares us for our spiritual reset that is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, right? And so if we are in a state of judgment during this time and casting judgment on our circumstances, on others, on ourselves, then we will kind of put ourselves under the eye of judgment. But if we hold and maintain that consciousness of open curiosity. I don't know. Let's see how the creator moves through the situation. I trust that the creator can move the situation. Be teachable, be pliable, but also, have mercy and compassion and let that higher wisdom come through. Right? So if we are, the judges, we put ourselves before the judges. So judge not lest you be judged, right? And also if we're looking at life through the eyes of either blessings or curses, black and white like that, then we're judging things too harshly. We're missing out on the technicolor of experience. So whereas we might at a first glance see something as a bad situation or a bad experience, it might yield a lot of blessings in the long run. And we might, perceive something as a bonus or a good fortune or a blessing at the beginning that might actually lead to a lot of dissatisfaction later down the line. So we look through the eyes of the creator, or we don't get caught up in the physical image, right? That's limited. It's no longer infinite potential. Our vessel, right, to channel the light through this time is going to be based in our ability to have like emotional sobriety and sovereignty and self-control. The thing about the King of Cups is that it's not that he's, he kind of seems stoic on the surface, but it's not because he's unfeeling. He's a very genuine and sincere person. But he's not controlled by his emotions. He's not led in his choices and actions by his emotion. He has control over that. He has control over the vessel, right? Over the stormy seas. He can carry himself through the different changing circumstances without getting bent out of shape, without becoming reactive. There's a solid anchoredness that can go deeper into the calmer places. And that person or that character usually has a more quiet sense of confidence. They're not big and bold and showy, but they have a gentle persuasion and strength about them. So that, I feel like, is our advice to get through the situation, is to not become emotionally reactive or bent out of shape or be driven, by that affectedness, but instead be anchored, have emotional sobriety. We're not denying our emotions or avoiding them. It's like we feel them and we witness them. We allow and bear witness to these emotions and we listen intently, but we don't have to let them control us. We can learn and observe from them without getting into the soap opera, but instead watching it as a viewer, right? And kind of dissecting the story from a dispassionate kind of point of view, right? Proactively. So we're building the vessel, we're building strength, we're building consistency. Remember, we're either vibrating with a thing or we're not. So the vessel is the soul, right? And so the soul, we're like getting a new soul, we're getting a new destiny in these coming weeks, but only if we prepare ourselves and build that vessel to receive that light. We have to be participating, and part of that is to heal some significant situations. And so tying into the thing that we want to accelerate during this eclipse season, it's tied to a thing that we need to heal and let go of. And so that could very likely be having to do with your father, because eclipses have an effect on our relationships with our father or the important masculines in our life, whereas the lunar eclipses have an effect on our relationship with our mother and the matriarchal, like feminine figures of our life. So this could be a very opportune time to kind of face some patterns and wounds and things around your father or your relationship to fatherhood. There's something in this about being in a dead end. It's like if we keep going around in these patterns and this robotic consciousness, it reminds me of the Wamo cars that just keep getting stuck, going round and round and round. If we keep beating our drum, from the state of being just like fired up and aggressive, like the King of Wands can be, we're only going to be hitting a dead end. We're not going to get anywhere, right? And maybe that's maybe you had a very authoritative, father figure or something about that. Maybe, a lot of times the King of Wands can represent the father or an authoritarian figure, or, kind of a strict father, or like a passionate, fired up, like entrepreneurial or industrial like type, someone who's very like charismatic and full of spirit, but sometimes that can burn out of control and be very overbearing, right? So, it could be that all of these themes are coming up, or pieces of them, but these things are coming up so that we can transmute and transform them. And just think of whatever willingness you are giving to the healing. It is the fuel that is propelling your seeds, your manifestations that you want to be growing and building and developing. It also will sweeten the judgment of the year to come Judgment Day on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the court date, where there's like 10 days or so from the court date to Yom Kippur, where it's sort of a probationary period, where, you can sweeten that judgment, but the final decree is laid down on Yom Kippur, and you draw down the new destiny for the year. And that's why you refrain from any inclinations of the flesh, and you have to fast. You can't wear leather, you can't wear, you can't bathe or wear oils or makeup or anything like that, because you have to deny no food, water. You have to deny all of the comforts of the body, because you're not associating with the body that day. And that helps the soul come down and become fully grounded. All right. I think that is everything that I wanted to cover. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll leave you with the audio here at the end. See y'all tomorrow for our weekly manifestation oracle message. Or what I may do is what I've been doing on weeks that we have a lunation, I sometimes will swap out the Tuesday or Thursday reading for the lunation reading, because both our manifestation and romance messages are built into the lunation workshops. So sometimes I've been able to just swap those out. And I'm working on that other project in the background right now, and so I need to be able to direct some time and focus to that. But yeah, more on that when it has legs and it's worth talking about and it's safe to talk about. But I guess see you guys tomorrow. Ciao. The trumpet blows, signaling the coming Leo Solar Eclipse this Wednesday. This time of year, it is vital that we train our eyes to look for blessings and trust the Creator, and restrict the temptation to judge. When we judge, we turn the cosmic eye of judgment onto ourselves, because we are either in vibration with something or we aren't. Shrouding our consciousness in a veil of mercy and compassion will therefore shelter us within the vibrations of mercy and compassion. We strengthen our vessel with emotional awareness, sobriety, and regulation. When we feel ourselves getting emotional or triggered, we take heed of the emotion, witness the emotion, observe the emotion, and listen intently to the emotion, but we don't get caught up in the story. Do not become reactive and controlled by the emotions. Witness without judgment and detachment, enough for dispassionate analysis. We need emotional stability to practice true will, true free will, and sovereignty. Letting our ego burn out of control, beating its drum, will only keep us circling in the dead end, like a Wamo, robotic consciousness stuck in a loop. Let the thorns and vines burn in the fire, while the bush remains unconsumed.